The diplomatic shock ambassador, Alina Vasquez, adjusted her formal blue uniform as she stepped off the transport shuttle onto the Galactic Unity station. The massive structure stretched endlessly in all directions, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of distant stars. This was humanity's first official diplomatic meeting with the Intergalactic Council, and Alina carried the hopes of 8 billion people on her shoulders. The station's central chamber took Alina's breath away. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy filled the vast space, each species more extraordinary than the last. Floating jellyfish-like creatures pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, while towering rock-like beings moved with surprising grace. Near the center, beings of pure energy danced in contained fields, their forms shifting like liquid starlight. Alina's escort, a graceful creature with silver skin and 4 arms, gestured toward the speaking platform. Ambassador Vasquez, please take your place. I am Council Aide Thailand of the Zelthani people. We are honored to welcome humanity to our community. As Alina stepped onto the platform, a hush fell over the assembly. The council speaker, a being that appeared to be made of living crystal, began to glow with a warm, welcoming light. Its voice resonated throughout the chamber like the sound of distant thunder. Welcome, humans of Earth. I am Council Speaker, Thlynen. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. But first, we must educate you about the laws that govern civilized space. Alina nodded respectfully. We are eager to learn. Council Speaker, humanity wants to be a responsible member of the galactic community. The speaker's crystalline form pulsed brighter. Excellent. The first and most important law is the Graceful Withdrawal Protocol. This law has maintained peace across the galaxy for over 10,000 years. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing various star systems and fleet movements. Alina watched with growing curiosity as the speaker continued. When 2 civilizations have a dispute that cannot be resolved through negotiation, they may engage in formal conflict. However, once one side demonstrates clear superiority in numbers or technology, the weaker side must invoke the graceful withdrawal. This prevents unnecessary loss of life and allows both sides to negotiate from a position of mutual respect. Alina felt a strange unease building in her stomach. Could you explain what this graceful withdrawal involves, exactly? A new voice joined the conversation. War Commander Zex of the Vorthok Empire stepped forward, his imposing 8-foot frame covered in ceremonial battle armor. Despite his intimidating appearance, his voice carried the patience of a teacher. It is simple, human. When your enemy shows they are stronger, you surrender. You acknowledge their victory and negotiate terms. This is how civilized beings behave. Eyes widened. You surrender, every time. Of course, replied a gentle voice from the Zelthani delegation. Fighting when you cannot win is wasteful and cruel. The graceful withdrawal saves lives and preserves dignity. The council speaker projected new images showing historical conflicts. Here you see the Krexan-Vorthok War of 2847. After the fleet demonstrated superior numbers, the Krexans immediately surrendered. The conflict ended within 1 day, with minimal casualties. Both species now trade peacefully. Alina studied the images with growing amazement, and this happens in every conflict. Every conflict between civilized species, confirmed Thlynen. It is the foundation of galactic peace. The stronger side shows their power, the weaker side acknowledges it and surrenders, then negotiations begin. Simple and effective. Alina's mind raced through human history. Images of Thermopylae, the Alamo, Stalingrad, and countless other battles, where humans had fought against impossible odds, flashed through her thoughts. She cleared her throat carefully. What if, hypothetically, a species refused to surrender? Even when facing superior odds, the entire chamber fell silent. The silence stretched so long that Alina began to wonder if her translator had malfunctioned. Finally, Council Speaker Thillen spoke, its crystalline form flickering with what Alina would later learn was deep confusion. I do not understand the question, Ambassador. Why would any intelligent species choose to continue fighting when they could not win? War Commander Zex leaned forward, his four eyes focusing intently on Alina. Are you suggesting that some species might be too primitive to understand the concept of logical surrender? Alina felt heat rising in her cheeks. Not primitive, exactly. But what if they believed their cause was worth fighting for, regardless of the odds? The chamber erupted in a cacophony of sounds. Species that communicated through color changes flashed rapidly between hues, while others made sounds that Elena's translator couldn't process. The noise was overwhelming, but the emotion was clear, complete bewilderment. Thailand raised one of his forearms for silence. Ambassador Vasquez, in 10,000 years of recorded galactic history, no civilized species has ever refused to surrender when faced with clear defeat. The concept is ... alien to us. A new voice joined the conversation. Elder Morpheus of the Ethereal Collective, a being of pure energy contained in a shimmering field, spoke with the weight of centuries. Young human, we have seen many species join our community. All have learned the wisdom of the graceful withdrawal. It is what separates us from the savage beasts that roam the void. Alina took a deep breath. With respect, Elder Morpheus, humanity has a different perspective on surrender. We have stories of people who fought against impossible odds because they believed in something greater than themselves. War Commander Zex's armor clinked as he shifted his weight. Stories are one thing, Ambassador. Reality is another. When faced with annihilation, even the bravest must see reason. The Council Speaker's glow dimmed slightly. Perhaps we should provide you with historical examples to illustrate the wisdom of our ways. The holographic display changed to show a beautiful blue-green world orbiting a binary star system. This is Krelthan Prime, homeworld of the Krelthan Confederacy. 3,000 years ago, they faced invasion by the Mordak Empire. The Krelthans had advanced technology, but were outnumbered 50-1. Alina watched as the display showed massive fleets facing each other in space. What happened? The Krelthan leadership, being wise and civilized, immediately surrendered when they saw the Mordok fleet. The Mordoks, impressed by this display of wisdom, offered generous terms. Today, former Krelthan worlds are among the most prosperous. In Mordok space, Thylon gestured to another section of the chamber. Elder Zyphex of the Krelthan people can tell you himself how this decision saved millions of lives. A crystalline being similar to the Council Speaker, but smaller and with a golden hue, stepped forward. Indeed, my ancestors chose wisdom over pointless bloodshed. We live, we prosper, and we contribute to galactic civilization. This is the gift of the graceful withdrawal. Alina nodded politely, but her mind was spinning. And this is considered honorable. It is considered intelligent, replied War Commander Zex. Honor means nothing to the dead. The Council Speaker began to glow brighter. Ambassador Vasquez, we sense your confusion. Perhaps you need time to study our ways and understand the wisdom of galactic law. Alina activated her communicator to contact Earth Command. I need to report this to my superiors. This changes everything about how we understand galactic politics. Of course, agreed Thylon. Take all the time you need. We are patient people. As Alina prepared to leave the chamber, Elder Morpheus spoke one final time. Young human, remember that every species that has joined our community has eventually understood the wisdom of the graceful withdrawal. Some take longer than others, but all eventually see the logic. Alina paused at the chamber's exit. With respect, Elder, I think you may be about to meet your first exception. The return journey to the human diplomatic quarters felt longer than it should have. Elena's mind was reeling from what she had learned. Every species in the galaxy had accepted surrender as a normal part of warfare. More than that, they considered it civilized, intelligent, and honorable. She activated the quantum communicator in her quarters and waited for the connection to Earth Command. General Patricia Harrison's face appeared on the screen, her expression serious. Alina, how did the first contact meeting go? Alina took a deep breath. General, we have a problem. Actually, we might have the biggest problem in human history. Explain. 4. The next hour, Alina detailed everything she had learned about the graceful withdrawal protocol. She explained how every species in the galaxy considered surrender to be a normal, expected part of conflict resolution. She described the stunned reactions when she had suggested that some species might refuse to surrender. General Harrison was quiet for a long moment after Alina finished her report. So let me make sure I understand this correctly. Every alien species we're likely to encounter expects us to surrender if they have superior numbers or technology. That's correct, General. And they're equally baffled by the concept of fighting against impossible odds, and they consider this surrender to be honorable and intelligent. They consider it the foundation of civilized behavior. General Harrison leaned back in her chair. Alina, I need you to ask yourself a serious question. After learning all this, if humanity were faced with a superior alien force, would you recommend that we follow their protocol? Alina didn't hesitate. No, General, I would not. Why not? Alina thought of the Spartans at Thermopylae, of the defenders of the Alamo, of the citizens of London during the Blitz. Because we're human, General, and humans don't surrender just because the odds are bad. General Harrison smiled grimly. That's what I wanted to hear. Alina, I'm sending you additional instructions. Tomorrow, you're going to give the Galactic Council a lesson in human nature. As Alina prepared for sleep that night, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was about to change the galaxy forever. The question was whether the galaxy was ready for a species that had never learned how to give up. Asterisk the test of human nature. The next morning brought unexpected visitors to Elena's quarters. War Commander Zex stood in her doorway, his imposing figure flanked by two smaller Vorthok officers. Despite his intimidating appearance, he carried himself with the formal dignity of a career diplomat. Ambassador Vasquez. A request, a private audience. Alina gestured him inside, noting how the Vorthok commander had to duck to fit through the human-sized doorway. Of course, War Commander. What can I do for you? Zex settled into a chair that creaked under his weight. I have been thinking about our conversation yesterday. Your suggestion that some species might refuse surrender intrigues me. Intrigues you. The Vorthak's 4 eyes focused on Alina with laser intensity. I am a warrior, Ambassador. I have studied conflict across the galaxy for 3 centuries, but I have never encountered an enemy that would not surrender when faced with certain defeat. Alina poured 2 cups of coffee, offering one to Zex. The alien sniffed the dark liquid curiously before taking a cautious sip. His eyes widened in surprise. This is ... stimulating. What do you call it? Coffee. It helps humans think clearly. Zex took another sip. Ambassador, I have a proposal. With the Council's permission, I would like to test your species' resolve. Alina set down her cup carefully. What kind of test? A formal challenge. Nothing serious, just a demonstration. I will bring a small fleet to the edge of your space and demand surrender. When you comply, as all species do, it will prove that humans are no different from the rest of us. Alina felt a cold smile cross her face. And if we don't comply? Zex paused with his coffee cup halfway to his lips. Then I will be forced to demonstrate why surrender is the intelligent choice. War Commander, are you threatening humanity? The Vorthok warrior leaned forward. I am offering your species the chance to prove they truly are different. If you refuse to surrender, even when faced with overwhelming odds, then you will have taught the galaxy something new. Alina activated her communicator. I need to contact Earth Command. Within hours, the proposal had reached the highest levels of human government. The response was swift and unanimous. Humanity would accept the challenge. 3 days later, 50 human ships gathered at the edge of the Sol system. They were an impressive sight. Sleek destroyers, powerful cruisers, and the massive dreadnought US Defiance serving as the flagship. But everyone involved knew the odds. Captain Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the tactical display as 200 Vorthok ships dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Each alien vessel was larger and more heavily armed than its human counterpart. The math was simple and brutal. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Vorthok flagship, reported Communications Officer Sarah Kim. Put it on screen. War Commander. Zex appeared on the main viewer, now wearing full ceremonial battle armor. Behind him, the bridge of his ship bustled with activity as crew members prepared for what they assumed would be a brief demonstration. Captain Chen, I am War Commander Zex of the Vorthok Empire. You are outnumbered 4-1 and outgunned by an even greater margin. According to galactic law, you must now surrender your fleet and withdraw from this system. Captain Chen was quiet for a moment, studying the alien commander. War Commander, I have a question for you. Speak. In all your centuries of warfare, have you ever faced an enemy you truly respected? Zex's 4 eyes narrowed. I respect many enemies, Captain. Those who fight with honor, those who surrender with dignity when the time comes. But have you ever faced an enemy who made you question your own assumptions about warfare? The commander paused. No, Captain, I have not. Marcus Chen smiled. Then today is going to be educational for both of us. He turned to his communications officer. Send the following message to War Commander Zex. Your surrender demand is acknowledged and rejected. If you want this system, you'll have to take it. The transmission ended with Zex staring at the screen in complete bewilderment. On the Galactic Unity Station, thousands of representatives from hundreds of species watched the confrontation with growing amazement. No one in recorded history had ever refused a formal surrender. Demand. Council Speaker Thailand turned to Ambassador Alina, who had been granted special permission to observe the test. Surely this is some kind of mistake, a translation error. Alina shook her head. No mistake, Council Speaker. That's humanity's answer. War Commander Zex tried again. Captain Chen, perhaps you do not understand. I have 200 warships. You have 50. This is not a battle you can win. Marcus Chen's response was broadcast across the galaxy. War Commander, let me explain something about humans. We've never been very good at math when it comes to impossible odds. The first shots were fired by the Vorthok fleet, brilliant energy beams designed to disable human ships without destroying them. Zex still believed this was some kind of misunderstanding that would be resolved once the humans saw his superior firepower. He was wrong. The human fleet didn't retreat or request negotiations. Instead, they charged directly into the larger formation, their ships weaving between enemy fire with reckless precision. Human commanders, trained in a tradition of warfare that valued adaptability over overwhelming force, used tactics that no Vorthok had ever encountered. Sir, the human ships are not following standard battle doctrine, reported Zex's tactical officer. They're attacking in small groups, focusing on our command vessels. Impossible, Zex replied. They cannot hope to win with such a strategy. But the humans weren't trying to win in the traditional sense. They were trying to prove a point. Every human ship that fell took at least one Vorthok vessel with it. When the destroyer US Hurricane lost its main engines, Captain Lisa Rodriguez ordered it rammed into the nearest enemy cruiser, shouting, "Remember the Alamo," as both ships exploded in a ball of fire. Across the galaxy, billions of aliens watched in stunned silence as humanity demonstrated something they thought was impossible: the willingness to fight to the death against impossible odds. War Commander. Zex found himself in a situation he had never encountered. His fleet was winning, but the humans refused to acknowledge it. Even as their numbers dwindled, they continued fighting with a ferocity that bordered on insanity. Captain Chen, Zex called on an open channel. Your fleet is reduced to 20 ships. You have fought bravely, but continued resistance is pointless. Surrender now with honor. Marcus Chen's response came from the bridge of the badly damaged Defiance. Smoke filled the air behind him, and his uniform was torn and bloodied. War Commander, I think you're missing the point. This isn't about winning or losing. This is about showing you that some things are worth fighting for, no matter what the odds. But why? Zex asked, genuine confusion in his voice. What could possibly be worth this sacrifice? Our freedom, our independence, our right to exist as free beings in this galaxy. Chen paused as another explosion rocked his ship. War Commander, every human who dies today dies knowing that they never bowed to tyranny. Can you say the same about your people? The question hit Zex like a physical blow. In 3 centuries of warfare, no enemy had ever asked him that question. No enemy had ever made him question the fundamental assumptions of galactic civilization. As the battle raged on, something unprecedented happened. Alien species across the galaxy began to remember their own histories, their own moments of surrender. They began to wonder what might have been different if they had fought like humans. The end came not with surrender, but with mutual withdrawal. The human fleet was reduced to 5 battered ships, but they were still fighting. The Vorthok fleet had lost nearly a third of its vessels to an enemy that should have been swept aside in minutes. War Commander Zex called for a ceasefire. Captain Chen, I call for cessation of hostilities. Are you surrendering, War Commander? Zex was quiet for a long moment. No, Captain. I am acknowledging that humanity has proven its point. As both fleets withdrew, the galaxy watched in amazement. For the first time in recorded history, a conflict had ended without surrender. Humanity had introduced a new concept to galactic warfare, fighting for principles rather than victory. Later, as Alina met with the council, the chamber was unusually quiet. Council Speaker Thailand's crystalline form pulsed with confused light patterns. Ambassador Vasquez, we have observed something today that challenges everything we know about civilized behavior. Alina nodded. Council Speaker, I think it's time the galaxy learned something new. War Commander's X, now sporting several battle scars and a new respect in his 4 eyes, stepped forward. I have fought battles across the galaxy for 3 centuries. Today, I encountered something I never expected to find, an enemy worthy of respect. Elder Morpheus of the Ethereal Collective spoke next. Young humans, you have given us much to consider. Perhaps the galaxy has grown too comfortable with surrender. Alina looked around the chamber at hundreds of alien faces, all showing various degrees of amazement, confusion, and something that might have been admiration. Council, Speaker, War Commander, Elder Morpheus, and all representatives of the galactic community, humanity doesn't seek to change your ways, but we hope you can. Accept that our way is different. Phylan's form brightened. Ambassador, I believe the galaxy has room for a species that never learned how to surrender. Perhaps it is time we all remembered what we might have been fighting for. As Alina prepared her report for Earth Command that night, she realized that humanity had just changed the course of galactic history. The universe now knew that there was at least one species that would never bow to superior force, that would fight for their beliefs regardless of the odds. The galaxy would never be the same again. The end. Asterisk.